Hey everybody, Steven here, and today looking at a premium microphone boom arm from YOUSHARES. Haven't been on camera like this in a while, so I figured this was a good opportunity to just show my face again. With this product, we have the boom arm, but it has RGB lighting on it, right? So I have a blue compass over here. I got this for, I believe, $120, $130 at the time. It's about $100 right now. I like it. I like this style of boom arm, and this is actually similar, but on the bottom, this is where we will have the RGB lighting. This is $100. Right now it has a 10% off coupon that can change, but I usually tell people just check back frequently because on Amazon, you usually find some type of coupon, some type of discount, and that's when you're going to want to buy the product. Let's get this thing unboxed though. So we have our user manual here. This is going to be our C clamp. It looks very heavy duty, looks premium. On the bottom here, normal twist. This does have the extension if you want the height extension with this. And we'll look at the specs here in a second so I can actually tell you the exact measurements with that. And then this is the arm. So as you can see, right here, we have the RGB lighting. And I believe this is RGB lighting right here as well. We'll have to see once I get this set up. So it may just be here on the bottom. I thought it was here on the top also, but we will see once it is all set up. And then this is our extension here. And I haven't used one of these yet, so I'm very curious to see what that does for me. Just based off the size of my monitor, I don't think I'm gonna go over the top of this thing, but it may make it easier on the side here for the mic to get put in front of me. And then we have our USB Type-C cable because obviously you're going to need power with this, right? So let's look at the specs on this really quick. And on the manual here, just shows the RGB on that bottom piece. So I'm gonna go ahead and assume it's just on the bottom there. All right, you will need to download the home linking app in order to change the RGB lighting. It does look like you could just do it from the switch here. So on the bottom, we have our switch. Let's see if we can get that in frame, maybe not as good. Yeah, probably not as good. That's gonna be harder to even see. I'll make sure that I get footage showcasing that with better lighting. But with this, you have the app QR code on it, so you can scan it there. I guess that's most likely going to be how you potentially link them up. Shows all of that. Where are our specs with this? There should be the adapter on this. Here we go. All right, so our threading adapters. We have 3/8 and 5/8 on that. So depending on what type of microphone, it does say that it works with Blue Yetis, it works with a Shure SM7B. With the Blue Yeti, you will need the shock mount with that, so just keep that in mind. And I am not seeing the spec list on this. That's interesting. Usually it gives you all the specs in terms of height and all that other stuff. So we're gonna pull the website up instead. So Blue Yeti, HyperX, Shure MV7, Shure SM7B, and then the Rode podcasting mic here. Let's see, where is here we go. All right, so this is 6.3 inches for the height adjustment, and then you should get 16.9 out of the bottom here, and then you would get 26 total if you added the two up for height. And then you should get, is it even saying on this? So it's not saying for this part that these two are the same. So this should be the 16.9 inches of reach, right? So if you added those two up, you're at what, basically 17 inches. So that should be, should be 34 total, right? Of vertical reach with this. So that is pretty solid. I mean, it should get exactly where I need it to go. So now we need to get this thing set up and just see how it actually looks once it's all connected. Hopefully this cable is long enough. That'd be one of my other concerns, is just making sure that this is long enough to it's all right. Probably needs to be a little bit longer. I would probably have this double the size just so you have that reach, because mine's on this corner. So I'm gonna have to Hopefully it plugs in, or actually I'm just gonna have to use a different USB Type-C cable with this. And then we'll see how it does with the weight of the Shure SM7B, because that is a heavy microphone. We do have our tension dials here, right? That's easy to use. This has a different turnstile. I like this. This is easier to do than that is. And that should be able to hold that weight here. Construction, it looks really, really nice in terms of the construction with the metal. And then you do have, oh, and these are easy to peel out, rubber. So this is where you would hide the cable for that. And it's got a decent amount of space in there also. Should be plenty for the XLR cable that I have for this Shure. And then trying to put that in. It's softer, so it may be a little bit trickier to get in. There we go. Easy enough. And then on the end, we have our mounting screw for whatever microphone you have. Keep in mind that you'll need the threading for that depending on what type of microphone it is, or like I mentioned, if you have a Blue Yeti, you're going to need a shock mount for that. So let's get this thing set up. I will showcase the app, I will showcase me using it with this, and then we'll look at the different lighting effects that this has as well.
Setup with the boom mic arm was quick and simple. I'm using the extension here for more height, which is important because I realized this won't allow the mic to stand upright. It will just actually roll over. So if you plan on using this like I typically do, which is upright, it just won't work. The good news is it's forcing me to put this in new positions that might actually work better for me. And I'm currently using this setup to record the audio here. I didn't think this would have the height to go over my ROG 42-inch OLED monitor, but it actually does, which is awesome, although the Shure SM7B might not be the best mic in terms of audio pickup in this location, but other mics that are omnidirectional might work great that way. The power cable here has a splitter so you can swap it out for longer USB Type-C cables, which I had to do, and I'm glad they made it this way so you're not limited to the length of a set cable. You can adjust the lighting from the controller here, although it is more limited with that, so it can only do a handful of things. You're really going to want to download the app. Now, I thought I had this app already, but I don't, so now it's one of an ever-growing handful that I have on my phone. It is simple to use and easy to connect the boom arm to, but it does have the language split here between English and what I'm assuming here is going to be Chinese. With that being said, let's go ahead and cover the app now, which I won't show everything because it does have a lot of effects going on, but I will show a good amount of them. So opening the app up here, this is where you can add other devices that this app would work with. Once you click on it, you have the top three little dots there in the right hand corner. That's just going to tell you the device name, information, lights on, remove device if you want to. The main tab that we are dealing with right here though is where you can do basic lighting functions. So you can choose different colors. You could add different ones in terms of just quick access that you want. And then you have the color wheel. So if you actually want to just do whatever out of the 16.8 million different color variations, you can adjust that. You can adjust the brightness. Next to this RGB tab, you also have the moments, and with this you have the different modes. You have streamer, flash, and jump. You can change the speed at which this is going to cycle through these colors. You can change the brightness. You do have to make sure that you apply this. So if you're just messing with this and then you don't do anything and you don't hit that apply button, it won't actually transfer that over to the light itself. So for the color settings, you can see you have 2 to 7 different colors that you could choose from with this or kind of set up as a preset. You're going to have to hold down the color to delete it. So if you're maxed out, which is what it's saying for me right there, you do need to delete some of these and then you can add whichever colors you want. So you can't see me do this right now, but it's a long hold and then yeah, the X will come up. You can delete those colors, click on the plus sign, and then you can add whatever color that you want. It just brings up the little strip there at the bottom. It's not one where you're gonna get the full color wheel, but you can kind of cycle through that and then adjust it if you want. Changing the brightness would change the tone to it a little bit, but you can't change the color tone with that, unfortunately. So let's go ahead and shift over now to the next tab, and here you have the different modes and scenes. So this is where I said there's a lot of different options. So you have streamer. It didn't set it up so that it's in an order where it's bundling all the streamers together. They are kind of dispersed and mixed up just a little bit, but you have streamer, you have the combination of the lights, you have flash with that, and again I'm just going to cycle through a handful of these. You have glint, which is kind of like a pulsing flash there, and then you have combos of colors. You can't adjust this from what I've seen though, so it's not like you could take the green blue and it's like, well, I want to make it my own. You would do that on the previous tab and you would make your own version there, not on this. What you can do though is adjust the speed and the brightness here. So we have red, green, jump, and again, if it's going slower, you're going to notice that. If it's going much faster, and I think I show it here in a second, especially with something like strobe, that's maybe too much. That's pretty intense right there. But you do have a decent level of customization with these. But then again, if you wanted to create your own, that would be on the previous tab. And then kind of color combinations here, it looks like it's just the primary colors, right, that you're seeing with these combos that they're creating. And then you would have an overall version. So colorful is going to have a spectrum of colors with it, and this is colorful breathe. And then you have your different ones there. We do see some of the other ones. Obviously you just saw purple and cyan, but they're not in a particular order, so you may have to search for that. And then we have a typo here: green, a blue, breath. Not green, blue, a blue. So typo that I found on this. But moving over now, we have scene. We just have the 5. If you wanted to make your own, again, that would be on the first tab. But you have colorful, gorgeous, games, romance, and party. And I'm just going to let this cycle through for a second. We won't spend a ton of time just hovering over each of these. But you don't have the ability to adjust these. So these are just presets that you have no control over, right? You can't adjust these. You would just have to create your own version of it, essentially. And this is where I was like, can you create your own? Clicking on the 3 tabs from this scene, and you can. Going over to the middle button here, so this is where you could allow this to react to any music or noise. So if you are doing a stream, that would be something cool, right? If there's music playing, if it picks up on that through your phone, you have streamer, breath, flash, and jump. But again, that's going to use the microphone through your mobile device. After that, you have schedule, and you can create some type of schedule for this. I don't know how many people are going to use this, but it is there. You have your presets you can choose from. You can't do anything else outside of that, unfortunately. I would have liked to have seen at least the static color options there. But you can set a timer, and you could schedule that for the rest of the week. The official timer is the last tab, and so you can set this for whatever amount of time that you want on that. So I think this is a solid boom mic arm with a quality build to the product's material. The adjustment knobs are easy to use here, and I really like the height extension this has. I wasn't sure I would like that this can only hang the mic. It can't actually hold it upright, but after using it for a while, I actually wish I used my mic this way sooner. The lighting here will be a preference thing, and you wouldn't want to buy a mic arm like this if you didn't want RGB lighting. For streamers, I think this is going to add a nice touch to their videos, but again, that's a personal preference thing. The negatives here that I found are the cable cover with an XLR cable doesn't hold as well as plastic clips would, although it does a better job of hiding the cable, so it's a bit of a trade out. The turn knobs here are good, but with a heavier mic, the amount you actually have to tighten this will make the movement of the arm more rigid, so it is a bit of a balancing act here. So overall, I mean, those are really almost just personal preference things. I wouldn't even necessarily put that 100% in a negative category with this. And overall, I'm really happy with this boom mic arm. I like the height on it. I like the RGB personally, but again, that's a preference thing. I do like the turn knobs with this. There's some issues when it comes to getting the mic initially set up maybe, and the placement of the cable, but once you have everything set, this is a really solid boom mic arm. And with the price point here, it is competitive amongst other boom mic arms. Again, this all boils down to personal preference. If you don't want RGB lighting, then obviously you're going to be looking elsewhere. If you do want it, there aren't too many products like this on the market. This is a very niche product. And so if you do, this may be something that you want to consider. I like the aesthetics. I like the build quality. I like the turn knobs. There's just a lot that I do like with this. And like I said, the price point here is very competitive. So that's actually going to be it for this one. If you have any questions about this, let me know in the comment section. I'll have a link for this in the description. If you want to pick it up, look for those sales also, because a lot of times you can find some type of discount code with these products. If you like the video, hit the like button for me. If you want to continue to follow along with all my content, hit the subscribe button for me. And as always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.